We have a word of the day today. Infatuation. To cause to be foolish. Deprive of sound judgment. That's definition number one. Definition number two, to inspire with foolish or extravagant love or admiration. Infatuate. I heard a priest once say that if it wasn't for infatuation, almost no one would ever get married. Yeah. Almost no one would get married. And this priest was teaching a sacraments course at the time that I heard him say this. And basically what he was saying is, at that tender age when most people get married, if they really understood what they were embracing, they wouldn't have the heart for it. They wouldn't have the moral fortitude for it. Because you who are married know that it requires everything. Everything. You don't have to raise your hands on this, but how many of you at one point or another have felt like Jeremiah, who said, "Lord, you duped me, and I allowed myself to be duped"? Maybe you didn't put it in those words, but maybe you just said to yourself at some point along your journey, how in the world did I get here? Or thought maybe to yourself, I didn't sign up for this. Because it's tough. It's tough. Mere human judgment, mere human reason cannot comprehend the mystery of God's love. And yet that love is exactly what we are called to reflect in our own lives, in our vocations. Mere human judgment in the face of the cross was too much for Peter and for many of us. He couldn't comprehend that his friend, that the one who inspired him, the one who loved him, the one whom he recognized was the Savior of the world, he couldn't comprehend that he would have to suffer so horrifically. Peter's aversion, his very human aversion to suffering, to the cross, was not a sin, but it made Peter an obstacle to his friend Jesus. And Jesus had to put that obstacle behind him because he sought to embrace the cross for our salvation. He chose to embrace suffering that we might live forever. He endured pain for our well-being so that we might be free. Sacrificial, redemptive suffering is something that is so hard to comprehend, and yet it is in the very fiber of who we are called to be as married people, as a priest, as a single person. It is what we are called to. It is the journey that we are on. A journey that is so absurd to the world around us that we have to be careful. St. Paul admonishes us in the second reading today that we cannot be conformed to this age, to the people around us, but rather we should be formed by the love of Christ. That's what should form us, so that we might discern what is good and holy and pleasing to God. I was recently talking to a young woman about the Christian journey and sacrificial love and redemptive suffering, and are called to be selfless. And her first response was, "That's so naive. That's what you believe?" And then she thought about it and she said, "You know what? It's kind of beautiful. It's kind of beautiful." And it is beautiful because it is the light of God's love. It is beautiful because it is of God. It is beautiful because it reflects the love of Christ. It is beautiful because there is nothing more powerful than someone who is willing to lay down their lives for someone they love, for a friend, for their beloved. That is what we are called to. It may seem naive to the world, but it's the path that we have chosen. And Jesus marveled over God's plan. What you have hidden from the wise and the learned, you have revealed to the childlike. The mystery of selfless, sacrificial love and redemptive suffering. And so we gather here to come down this aisle, to be incorporated into the life of Christ, to become one with Christ, that our lives may reflect the love of God. Because unlike the world around us, which we will not allow to form us, unlike those who spin their wheels to gain the whole world and at the same time lose their lives in the process, we choose the life of Christ, which is eternal. We choose to deny ourselves, to embrace our cross, and to follow after him. So no matter how we got here, maybe it was infatuation, maybe we feel that God duped us, and we allowed ourselves to be duped. We know that there is nothing more beautiful than the life of Christ that we are called to.